Welcome to the Health Fix podcast, where health junkies get their weekly fix of tips, tools, and techniques to have limitless energy, sharp minds, and fit physiques for life. Hey, health junkies. On this episode of the Health Fix podcast, I'm interviewing Angela Ardolino. She is a plant and mushroom medicine educator, formulator, and speaker, as well as an advocate for animals and a trailblazer in holistic pet wellness. With over 25 years of experience caring for animals, she's made it her life's mission to empower pet parents with the education and tools they need to support their pets naturally. From running a bustling rescue sanctuary at Fireflake Farm to crisscrossing the country to speak on holistic healing, Angela is devoted to sharing the power of plant and mushroom medicine. Now, her journey into natural wellness began after her own diagnosis with rheumatoid arthritis back in 2013, and refusing to accept a lifetime of pharmaceuticals, she dove into the world of cannabis, herbalism, and functional mushrooms, and never looked back. Today, Angela combines cutting-edge science with centuries of traditional wisdom to teach others how to support the endocannabinoid system, balance the body, and unlock true vitality for pets and their owners. Now, she's also the creative force behind multiple ventures that champion education and wellness, including the House of Alchemy, and she previously founded the Miami Children's Theater and Tampa Bay Parenting Magazine. Whether she's on stage, online, or in the field, Angela is a bold voice for change in the way we care for our animals naturally, compassionately, and holistically. Now, I brought on Angela because she reached out to me and I was fascinated by what she was up to online. If you've seen me on Instagram or you know me, you know I love animals. And animals are so near and dear to our hearts. They're our family. They are an extension of us, I believe, and they experience what we experience. And if we're not feeling great, chances are they're not feeling great. So being able to use products that can help both them and us at the same time, game changer. And this is what Angela is doing. She has figured out the formulations that help pets and their humans, so you can share your herbs with your pets. So many people contact me about what to do about their pets. And of course, I'm not a veterinarian. I don't want to practice out of my scope, but I do find that a lot of herbs do help pets. And I've used quite a few different things on my dogs over the years. So I thought it would be fun to bring Angela on and chat about what she's up to, what she's seen, and all the progress that she's made using a combination, not in the same formula, but a combination of mushrooms and cannabis, not THC. We're not getting your pets high, but a combination of herbs and adaptogenics as well. So herbs that help you adapt to life stressors and the stressors that are within your body, and how she's utilizing that with her furry companions and herself at the same time. She gave me a little trial of Ease, which is a pain relieving CBD product, and it does work. It helps quite a bit, and it calms my Brian down when nothing else does. And Clarity was another product she had us try for cognitive support. And I have to admit, I think it helped me too there. So I love the idea that I have something that I know is safe for both me and my pets, and I'm using it at the same time between the two of us. Genius. All right, so hopefully you're intrigued by now. Let's introduce you to Angela Ardolino. Angelina Ardolino, welcome to the Health Fix podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness, this is a long time coming, just because we have a love for animals that we've shared. And then we also have a love for herbs. And here in this podcast, I can't wait to talk about what you're up to, how you've helped my little critter calm himself down, which is a big deal because he's a hyper golden, and how we're learning new things about the skin and what we can do with this. So out of all of this, you know, I've seen on Instagram, I've seen on your websites, you've got stories of how you've helped certain critters along the way. And it sounds like have a couple soul animals and things of that nature. Tell us, were you always interested in herbs since a little kid, or did this start to come about because of the dogs, or how did your interest in nature and herbs and growing your own food, all that stuff, come about?
What a great question of where it started. But yes, I attribute animals for saving my life. Basically, all I did was spend all my time outside with my animals. I actually wasn't allowed to have pets inside, which was okay because I spent all my times outside with them. So, yes, like when I look at everything, compare myself to my sisters, everything, it was all because I was outside with my animals. um, but in 2015, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which made no sense to me because I literally had a media company, which all I did was talk about natural living and getting toxins out of our life. I thought I had already done that. How is this possible? Well, it was because I was a workaholic, stress all the time, working all the time, doing too much. I gave myself this autoimmune disease, which the good thing is that means I could reverse it. That means I can get rid of it. So that's what, that sucked. But at the same time, I can do something about it. And at this very same time, my soul dog, Odie, who was 9 years old, he was a miniature schnauzer, also stopped going up the stairs, wouldn't get up on the couch anymore. So I knew he was starting to experience pain. And that's when small dogs turn into seniors, is about age 9 or 10. He was diagnosed with degenerative myelopathy, which is kind of the same thing as rheumatoid arthritis. When that happened to me, I was, like most people, prescribed a conventional drug called Humira, which, of course, I don't take pharmaceuticals. I believe pharmaceuticals need to exist. They're great for emergencies, situations, but they don't get to the root cause and just suppress symptoms. So I knew that I wanted to get to the root. And they prescribed Humira, which has already been linked to lymphoma, and I wasn't going to do that. And I found FICO, full extract of cannabis oil, and tried that. I will never forget, that was 10 years ago now, and I will never forget. I knew I was in pain, but not until I took that tincture did I literally feel it leave my body. And then I was like, oh, I remember what this feels like. Now I'm pain free. And why the hell is this prohibited and restricted? So taking that tincture made me instantly an advocate and want to know more. So I lived in Florida, which it wasn't medically legal there yet. So I fought like crazy to get it legalized there. It took us 4 years to do it. On top of that, I literally sold my business and threw myself into the cannabis industry. I wanted to know more. I told you I had a media company. So I immediately found a group of moms who were treating their kids, tumors, cancer, seizures with cannabis. So I started reporting on those stories and things like that. And ended up selling my business, throwing myself into the industry, hired the best consultant in the country, traveled everywhere with him, learned how to source seeds, how to grow medicine, how to extract it, how to preserve it, what the different cannabinoid profiles do. And then in 2016, the University of Vermont School of Medicine started their first cannabis program at the School of Medicine for its study for therapeutic uses in biology. And they literally reached out to my consultant and said, hey, do you know anybody we want a killer inaugural class? And he was like, oh, yes, I do. And so I got to attend that program, which blew my mind. That's where I learned about the endocannabinoid system and that all animals have them. Fish, to our dogs, lizards, birds, and it's a lot like ours. We do have some additional research on dogs. They are more sensitive. They have more receptors than we do. That's why they're a little bit more sensitive to THC. But all the same things that benefit us benefit our animals also. So that's where I was like, oh, okay. My favorite things, cannabis and dogs. And I was like, this is going to be my career. This is what I'm going to concentrate on and do. I also at the time had a rescue farm where I rescued farm animals and old dogs with problems. So I really started to concentrate on that. So I had a lot of relationships with veterinarians. where they would get a dog where, they thought there was nothing else that they could do. And there was a pet parent who was like, what else can I do? Or the dog was being euthanized because they thought there was nothing else they could do. I'd get the dog and I would totally change its diet to a real food diet, take it off its 10 to 12 to 15 different pharmaceuticals and creams and shampoos and sprays, and literally bring these animals back to homeostasis. And they were always old and diseased, and I was still able to bring them back to homeostasis. So being able to do that over and over and over again was pretty incredible. I had this education, but when I went to the holistic veterinarians, I said, hey, do you know about the endocannabinoid system? Nope, but we believe in it. I'm like, what do you want to know? I'll teach you. They're like, how are you using it? What are your cases? What does it work on? Well, it works on everything. And the reason that it works on everything is because the endocannabinoid system is our master system in our bodies. It is in control of all of the other systems. If you treat just a respiratory issue without also dealing with the endocannabinoid system, you literally can't get back to homeostasis. You might get better, but you won't get back to completely balanced. So what's so messed up about this is that our doctors and veterinarians aren't taught anything about this system.
True. Yeah.
And so that's why we never really can get to, as you know, if we don't get to the root of the problem, we're never going to solve the issue. We have to get to the root. And conventional medicine usually just suppresses symptoms and doesn't get to the root. So we never get back to true health. So being able to do this over and over and over again at my own farm with my own cases, and I formulated all my products in 2016, but couldn't release them until 2018. So literally had 2 years to test them nonstop. I bought a groom shop that, like I said before, we'd get on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 75 dogs a day.
Holy cow.
It was very busy. And it had been there for 30 years, and then I've totally changed its reputation. So we would take sick dogs, old dogs, aggressive dogs, any dogs. So we were very busy. And 85% of those dogs coming through that shop were suffering. They all were suffering. And I'd ask pet parents, are you aware of this lump on his leg? Are you aware of this yeast infection? Are you aware of the ear infection? Are you aware of this rash? And they'd be like, yes, we don't know what to do. I've spent thousands of dollars. Nothing ever gets any better. And then here I was going, try this. Let's do this. Change the food. And it was that simple. Sometimes not that simple because, as you know, when you suppress the symptoms and turn off the immune system, when it comes back on, there's usually a flare up and some things you need to deal with. But for the most part, it worked every time. Real food, this is like something I say all the time. Mother Nature provides us with all the food and medicine that we need. And we really can bring the sickest person or animal back to homeostasis if we give them real food and real plant and fungi medicine.
I absolutely agree. I have, a very interesting story about this. My dog, the golden retriever I currently have right now, had chronic ear infections. We knew it was the food. Of course, I was busy with work, couldn't cook for him as much as I wanted to. Pulled him off of all of the foods. He lost weight. He got healthy. I took him to the vet because we were going back and forth about the ear thing. And I said, hey, I got rid of the ear thing. It was his food. Well, here's what happened. They took him away from me while they saw him in the office because he had lost so much weight. And they said, golden retrievers don't lose this much weight. Well, being a doctor, I know what happens when you take a pet in the visit away. They thought I had abused him. And then they said, well, we're going to have to look at the labs and see how he's doing. And, I'm sitting there going, I came in just for a double check that you could see that his ears are better. And
P.S. I'm a doctor.
Right. I know what's going on right now, that you think that I abuse my dog. And so, it was kind of horrifying and eye-opening for me to see, because this was actually a considered, quote, holistic doctor office. And so I will never go there again. And because we were made to feel like we had abused our dog, and he was healthier. And so at that point I said, the heck with this. I'm never going to do that again. I am now going to work on herbals and different things with them. And, this is the first time I've actually shared this story because my background, more helping people. But like how you found me and what you said was so beautiful was that, yes, I feel like our dogs go through what we're going through. And at that same time, I was having more gut issues. There was different things that I was experiencing. And so, we changed up things with him. We worked on, me slowing down with food and making sure that I was actually eating versus not eating because of being busy. And so, looking at this and seeing it, full circle, like you're explaining, like it is whole food for the pets, but we are kind of convinced that we need to buy pet food.
Nope.
It's like
Food, real food is real food is real food. And please don't ask me, where is the research? Are you kidding me? It's real food. It's real plants. It's real mushrooms. It's the original medicine, not the alternative. But you can't patent food, plants, or fungi and make $1 billion off of it. So what we do is we invent, change, pull out certain isolates, components that worked, bioactives out of that food, plant, or mushroom, and make medicine out of it. But when we do that, there's always a side effect because the body doesn't know what the hell it is. The body doesn't recognize a synthetic isolate. So what you do is you cause the body to go in overdrive to figure out what this is. The liver has to work on it. It depletes our glutathione. It literally takes away all of our defenses. It disrupts our gut where our immune system literally lives. By the way, it's called the endocannabinoid system. They've already changed the name to the endocannabinoid ome because it incorporates the microbiome. There are receptors all over our organs, everywhere, all through our body for this endocannabinoid system. And if our receptors aren't producing these endocannabinoids, that means we're off balance. And it just so happens this beautiful plant called the cannabis plant literally produces phytocannabinoids, which fill those deficiencies and bring us back to homeostasis. All disease is based on inflammation of something, and that's its main driver, is to get rid of inflammation, systemic inflammation throughout the body. And that's what it does. That's why it seems like it does and helps everything, because everything's based in inflammation. But that's what the problem is. It's the biggest threat to every pharmaceutical drug out there. Pain meds. Pain meds are made to interact with just one of the 5 signaling pathways for pain. Cannabis, immediately, all of them, all 5 of them. Best painkiller ever with no side effects. It's not going to destroy your gut lining. It's not going to deplete glutathione. It's going to help those things also. So it's always, every time I see something, read something, can't figure out why did they do it that way? It's always about the damn money. It's always about them and their profits and making more money, not about actually healing you and getting you back to homeostasis.
It's definitely money driven, and something that, you come to really realize in every industry, just as much, the vet, the dental, the, health, it's every industry. Now, one of the things that I'm very curious about, and I get a lot of questions from my patients, is about the different types of CBD. CBD, CBDN versus CBDG versus, and a lot of people are I think right now, we've gotten to the point where folks know that CBD and cannabis products can make a huge difference in their health.
I think now you got to go find a good one.
Yeah. And now you got to go find sourcing, and that's definitely something that anytime someone pitches something to me, I'm always going to look and see where they're sourcing. But then the other thing is, because, a lot of people are going to think like, oh, there's some stoner, and no offense to Northern California, but they're imagining, weed California, and they're imagining something like that, or they've seen the Sons of Anarchy, show or whatever, and they're imagining something like that. But like, truthfully, the folks that I have met who are working on cultivating the cannabis plants and even growing mushrooms are like the most scientifically fascinating folks I've ever seen in my life. They just know so much. And so one of the things that a lot of people ask me about, because once we get past the like, no, it's not going to get you high unless you want that particular part of the plant. The CBD N's and the G's and the A and all of those different things. Can you help us to kind of, look at it, but also look at it in the lens of like, what does best for animals and dogs in particular? Like, is there a better, and I don't even know how to like describe it. This is my naive, derivative. Is that what we say? What do we say?
No, what a great question. So what you want is a full spectrum hemp extract every single time.
Okay.
And that is what works best for you and for your pet. When I said FICO, full extract of cannabis oil, that's what we need. So I mentioned that dogs have more receptors than we do, so they're more sensitive to it. So a full spectrum hemp extract is amazing for pets. It's also amazing for us, but we may need a little bit more THC. So go to your dispensary and get it. But if you're just mild, I mean, I literally treated my RA with a full spectrum hemp extract. I also went to my medical dispensary and got something with a little bit more THC also, but our dogs don't need that. In a full spectrum hemp extract is 118 different cannabinoids.
Okay.
CBD and THC are the two major ones that always should be in the plant, and everything's the cannabis plant. So if that cannabis plant has more THC if that cannabis plant has more THC, it therefore has less CBD and is considered marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And if it has more CBD, it therefore has less THC and is considered hemp. Why that's all confusing is that these are definitions made up by the United States government.
Well,
so
of course.
it makes no sense. So I have to operate in this realm that makes no sense and explain to you what it means. When you see something where they have isolated CBD or one of the 118 THC, CBN, CBG, and they all have a T or a C on them, they're making pharmaceutical drugs. You got to have the plant. What do we know? We know that that plant extract has to have all of compounds to do what research has shown that cannabis can do, cannabis and hemp can do. When you isolate just one thing, you've now created a pharmaceutical. The body doesn't recognize it. And CBD isolate is a pharmaceutical drug on the market right now, which is why I can't say the word CBD. I can't have it on my website. I can't explain. I can't talk about it, anything, because I'm now pretending like I have a pharmaceutical drug, which I don't. So that's why it's so damn confusing. That pharmaceutical drug went through research, and CBD isolates cause liver injury and damage. They had to stop the research because so many humans were having liver injury. So you want to stay away from isolates just like you want to stay away from isolates and pharmaceutical drugs because they're dangerous and the body doesn't recognize them. So always make sure you get a full extract of cannabis oil, which is more THC, or a full spectrum hemp extract. And the only way for you to know you're getting that is if that product gets a certificate of analysis. Never, ever. I don't ever buy a herbal product, mushroom or hemp or any herbal product without a COA proving to me that it really is that plant, that it has those compounds in it, and that it's free from contaminants, pesticides, herbicides, solvents, mycotoxins, all of those things. If you can't easily access a COA for a product, move on. And certificate of analysis is costly. It has to be done at a third-party lab, and it ain't cheap. And we do it for every batch that we produce. So that's why a lot of companies don't do it. And nobody's regulating this. Nobody's making sure that they're potent, that they're safe, that you're getting something real in the bottle, except unless you're getting it from a medical marijuana dispensary. But medical marijuana dispensaries don't sell hemp. They sell cannabis. So you can't go in and get something for your pet most of the time, or something that is free of flavoring and those types of things.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, gummies aren't medicine. Why are we doing that? Stop. And I get it. It tastes weird sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So you might have to put it in your food or, your dog's food or whatever, but medicine isn't supposed to taste like candy.
Well, yes, it is a thing to get people to take it, right. And it's, obviously there's no gummy tree. I mean, there is a gum tree, but not the one we're thinking about with that's purple and tastes actually good.
Right. It
No,
has
and
sugar on top.
right, there's little sugar crystals on it as well. But it brings the point back, with all the different cannabinoids. There's a word that I couldn't think about. So I'm like, derivatives, boy, my brain's not working. Need some more. Um, but in that point, it is something that we talk about a lot in formulations with herbal medicine as a whole and folk medicine as a whole, because I live in the realm of being a naturopath, right? And so there are supplements that are extracts. There are products, and I've always wondered and seen that when we get something that's the whole plant, we do a lot better than when we're getting
Exactly.
things that are like, this is the ashwagandha 295 extract that was researched, and we don't know if
Because
someone
I
was
can patent that
right.
and I can make a million bajillion dollars off of it, which
Exactly.
which also doesn't make sense to me because, the way we do things is so different than another person who does extractions. Like our mushrooms, for instance, we do a spagyric preparation. Most people never even heard of that.
I have
It
not.
is a it is a true, it's the ancient way of doing things, and it is a true whole extract of a mushroom. It's considered a triple extract. So like the way we do our mushrooms is we only grow them on the substrate they're found to grow on in nature, because they will not have the bioactive compounds, medicinal compounds in them if they're grown on oats, rice, grain, or something like that.
Sawdust. You're floored.
Sawdust. Yeah. Cardboard. I mean, these people, and that's the thing. That's the difference between people, mushroom enthusiasts, someone who loves them, and someone who knows how to make mushroom or hemp medicine. So that's the difference between the, getting high or just loving them type of thing and growing them. But if you want true medicinal mushroom medicine, it has to be grown on the same substrate found in nature. So we either wild forage or we wild cultivate, and then we do a dual extraction, both hot water, and you have to do alcohol. Alcohol is the only way to get through down to those triterpenoids and those incredible bioactives that you can't get when you just do it in water. And then we do something after we do that hot water and alcohol, everything that's left, the spent, gets purified and put back into the tincture. And that's what a spagyric is. So you're getting all of the minerals, the salts, everything that mushroom has to offer. So even then, like, I am so different than anybody else out there making a mushroom extract. Most mushroom products aren't even mushrooms in the first place. They take grain and they inoculate it with the spores. The spores eat everything up. It's called the mycelium. And then the mycelium pops up a little primordia mushroom. They take that entire block, throw it, grind it up, put it in a pouch or a capsule, and call it a mushroom product. And it has no mushrooms in it at all. It's ground up grain with mycelium. And mycelium's incredible, but you can't separate it from its substrate.
Right.
And often those bioactive compounds are also found in the fruiting body, which is what we know as the mushroom. That's where the extraction is supposed to be done, on those caps and stems of those mushrooms. So to me, it makes no sense. But what people need to understand is that it's completely unregulated. Supplements. I just did an incredible podcast with, which I should introduce you, with a person who's basically a supplement expert, which all she does is help practitioners choose supplements because it's completely unregulated and 85% of them are worthless. Anybody can turn around and put something in a capsule or a pouch and call it a mushroom powder, and it has no mushrooms in it whatsoever. So you have to please don't jump on the internet and go buy the first things that you find.
Or the cheapest one.
And exactly. Natural medicine isn't cheap. I mean, I just told you how my process of what I do. And I make products for pets. All my products are human grade, by the way. I take them all. But my products are for pets. So when I do that alcohol extraction, I then take the time to evaporate all of the alcohol off, because alcohol is not good for us and it's really not good for our pets. They have They lack the enzyme that helps them break it down. It stays in their body, and it's a lot more toxic to them than it is to us. So that's why I take it out. All of that costs a lot of money and is really hard. Just finding people who grow mushrooms correctly. Like how many mushroom farmers I've gone to who were probably growing them for culinary use because that's the only way they were making money. And I'm like, hey, could you do this a little bit different? And then I can use your product too. Can you grow it on the right substrate? And then also the powders. Why is a liquid extract from something, from a mushroom that's 80% water, 70 to 80% water, why are we drying a liquid extract? I know why. Because the majority of them are coming from the same two bulk suppliers from China. And it's a lot cheaper to send a powder over from China than it is a liquid. A liquid is very heavy and it would cost a lot of money. So they dry it. They introduce other additives in it like maltodextrin. They do things like spray drying where something else gets in it that's a fluffing, bulking agent. So you're also getting some sort of weird ass additive in your mushroom extract. So I always like to see it in its original form. Don't dry that extract. It's an extra process. Is it easier to throw in your coffee or throw on top of your dog's food? Yes. But you've put it through another process, and that's not the way it should be. Keep it in its liquid form. And then hemp is an oil. So hemp is best, going through the mucous membranes and directly going to the bloodstream. If you put it on food and eat it instead, then it's going to be metabolized by the liver. It's going to be broken down. So instead of getting like 95% of the medicine when you put it on your gums, you're getting about 50 to 35% of the medicine when you consume it. So if it's something serious like seizures or cancer or pain, you always want to put that hemp right on the gums so that it's absorbed into the bloodstream. And again, has to be made right for that to even happen. So homogenizing, nano-emulsifying it so that when it does hit your mouth, it goes directly into your bloodstream. You should be able to feel, when you take a tincture of a hemp or cannabis product, you should be able to feel it pretty immediately. You should literally, like I said, when I took it the first time, I could literally feel the pain leaving my body. I felt it go through and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And that's the way it should be. That's how you know it's made right.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And definitely, I'm looking at Brian, my golden retriever, I give him some of the ease before the podcast because sometimes he gets worked up in the neighborhood and people talk to him, and he definitely is chill right now. He has eased. And he hears me talking about him, so now he's back up. But
and you know all about adaptogens. So the reason that adaptogens are so magical is they adapt to whoever takes them. They adapt to their stressors and work to bring the body back to homeostasis, but they're interacting with the endocannabinoid system. So when you combine an adaptogen with cannabis, holy cow, it literally makes it more synergistic, more powerful, helps it do its job better. So my actual calming formula is full spectrum hemp extract with lavender extract. The one that you have is the Ease, the one that I created for myself and my soul dog, which is a full spectrum hemp extract with frankincense extract and turmeric extract, which are also two other adaptogens, and they share some of the same compounds as cannabis. So when you put them together, it is no more pain. So he's feeling calm. Absolutely. That's something that is a side effect of it, but he's also feeling no pain and feeling really, really good. So I just love it. It's something, that's the way medicine should work, right? We give it to them. Not only does it take care of whatever it is, it's also helping their body's innate ability to heal itself. And that's all we should be doing. When pharmaceuticals literally take the body's ability away to heal itself and we never reach homeostasis again.
It's wild. It's wild to think about that. I think one of the things that I definitely want to clear up for folks, because you mentioned that the Ease has the frankincense and the turmeric extract. Let's help folks understand that it's not the extract they would think like extracted only BCM 95 turmeric,
No,
or
it's a full extract. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying that. Everything we do, I trust Mother Nature. She's made it perfect. I don't need to mess it up. If I've grown it the right way and I know that this is the peak time of when I should harvest that flower or that root, and how do I extract it so that I best get all of those medicinal compounds like hemp. We do CO2, supercritical CO2 extraction. You're like, what the hell is that? Well, what it is that it's the best way to get all of the bioactives out without damaging them. That's what it is. It's a lot better than alcohol. It's a lot better than, I don't know, there's so many different ways that they're doing it now. But I wanted to make medicine. I wanted to make something. What do we expect from medicine? We expect that every time we take that medicine, we get the same result. And it's kind of hard to do that with plants and mushrooms. But if we do grow them the right way and the correct way, the way they did in nature, and we do all of these steps to extract it and preserve it the right way, we can get that same result every single time.
What are you looking for? I understand with the mushrooms, we're looking for something grown on a natural substance, like maybe like a wood. Like
Yeah, most of them are wood.
It
Yep.
would be my guess.
Well, like chaga, for instance. Chaga has to be grown on a birch tree.
I did not know that.
And I would say 95% of chaga is not coming from a birch tree. It's coming off of a grain, grown on a grain. If it does not grow off of a birch tree, it does not have betulinic acid in it, which is the main bioactive compound that makes all of the good stuff happen that chaga does. Chaga is the king of all antioxidants. There's nothing that has more antioxidants in it than chaga. It's amazing. But it has to be grown on that birch tree. Live birch tree, not even a dead one. So that's how important it is. Chaga, everything, there's a scale of the best to shit. And most stuff is kind of in the middle, or they don't make it potent enough. That was the first thing. I always dabbled with mushrooms, had a couple of my favorite, but it wasn't until my Doberman got osteosarcoma that I did the deep dive. And the mushrooms, I was literally a practitioner for another company until I found out how they were growing, where they were growing. I started going, what? Because I started going, okay, research shows that I should give this much turkey tail, this much reishi, this much cordyceps. Then I would look at the packet and go, I have to put half. First of all, I was doing capsules, and then I read the ingredients of the capsules under the other or the inactive ingredients where I saw all the fillers that they were putting in there. So I got rid of those. Then I went to the pouches and realized I would have to put half a pouch in her food to reach the therapeutic dose. And that was for one mushroom. So if I'm going to do that for 5, that means her food was completely mud and she wouldn't eat it. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way. There has to be something better. So that's why I did that deep dive and finally found a myco-alchemist who was making a human product that I liked, and got with him and go, hey, can we make things for pets, and can I throw in some more adaptogens? Because we've already have the proof. The research showing us when you put more adaptogens together that they're more potent and therapeutic. It's not my opinion. It's not something that I just came up with. So because there's no regulation, and because most people, there's not another person in my industry, I'm in the pet industry, that has an expert that knows what they're doing. They didn't go, how do they know how to make a product? They don't. They're just figuring it out. They're just putting it in a bottle. In 2018, I got an article every day from the pet industry telling me how CBD was the next, $60 billion, whatever that they would say. So everybody jumped on that bandwagon. When I went to the industry event in 2018, there were 40 of us. And this is it's called Super Zoo. It's huge. Thousands and thousands and thousands of exhibitors. And there were about 40 of us who had some sort of hemp, CBD, cookie treat, tincture, whatever. That year, a company called Folium Biosciences, who's the biggest manufacturer of broad spectrum products, which a broad spectrum product is when they remove the THC and perpetuate the fear that THC is bad or toxic for dogs, which it's not. They even did a piece of research to prove that. In 1973, it was called the Rosencrantz study. They wanted to find out how much THC it would take to kill a person. They did the research on rats, dogs, and chimpanzees. And they gave them 9,000 milligrams of THC, which is insane. Why, right? 2 rats regurgitated when they were asleep on their vomit and choked and died. No dogs died. No chimpanzees died. It's called LD50. There's literally no lethal dose for animals because the body recognizes it and goes, I got too much. Let's get rid of it. It doesn't interfere with our heart, our breathing. It's something that's completely natural and the body recognizes. So we can get rid of that fear, there. But this company mass produced broad spectrum products and went around to every exhibitor and said, do you want your own CBD? Do you want your own CBD? So most products, just like mushroom, are white labeled products from the same bulk people who are making it. So the next year at Super Zoo, there were 200 and some CBD, cannabis, something, whatever. And the majority of them aren't, pure. They're filled with additives. They don't have anything in them. They're actually dangerous. There's isolates on the market where I already told you we've already proven that those cause liver damage. Now, almost 10 years later, most of those companies are gone, but I still see them pop up. There's a brand new company that's selling isolates. There's actually university programs teaching people how to make pharmaceuticals out of cannabis medicine. And so we're going to see it. It's really hard. We have all this incredible information, but now when we go out into the marketplace and go to try to find those products, there's so much crap out there.
And this is where, we have to be educated, listening to podcasts like this and just really understanding what to be on the lookout for, because gosh, mushrooms, I didn't even know that chaga needs to be grown on birch trees. I'm thinking like, okay, what about lion's mane? What about the rest of them? How do we grow those? And I think a lot of people might be wondering too, like, are all the mushrooms safe for dogs? Is there anything that's not? Is there anything we need to be thinking about with mushrooms and dogs?
Whatever's poisonous to us is poisonous to them too. So the mushrooms I'm talking about are not psychedelics. They're medicinal mushrooms: lion's mane, maitake, shiitake, reishi, cordyceps, chaga, red-belted conch, artist conch. Those are the ones that king trumpet. Those are the ones that I really, tremella. Those are the ones I concentrate on. But there are so many different species of them, and many of them have medicinal qualities. So those are the ones that I concentrate on, and there is so much research out on them already. And now I've been using them for 5 years with just incredible results. So yeah, you want to make sure that it's a mushroom that is safe for both of us. When you're out foraging in the woods, you absolutely could come across a poisonous mushroom, and you shouldn't just pick them and take them home. You should know what you're doing. But what's beautiful about mushrooms is that when you eat them, first of all, this is one of my favorite pieces of research. Eating 3 grams of mushrooms, chopping them up, frying them up in some ghee, and eating 3 grams of them feeds your gut microbiome for 13 days. So if every 13 days you could just eat some and feed them to your dog, you're literally taking care of the gut's microbiome for 13 days. You're giving it the food that it needs. I've even tried this. I've even done let me finish this part. If you're doing that, not only you're feeding the gut microbiome, but if your dog were to get those mushrooms and then you go on a hike and he were to eat that poisonous mushroom, the good mushroom that he ate literally trains the cells to recognize the bad virus, the bad mushroom, the mycotoxin, the bacteria, and helps your cells remove it from the body. So they really are incredible. Mushrooms share 30% of our DNA. They're more like us than than plants and other animals are. We literally are supposed to be consuming them and taking their medicine all the time. So as long as you're sticking with those and it's a reputable company and you've got that certificate of analysis, that COA that shows you, because both hemp and mushrooms are bioaccumulators, meaning they suck everything out of the air and earth. So that's why it's very important how they're grown, how they're processed, and why you have to have that COA to prove that you're getting an actual mushroom or hemp product and that there's no contaminants.
Yes, those COAs. I've heard that there are some folks who have manipulated the COA situation in the industry too.
Yes, they have. So, yeah, make sure that you understand it. First of all, make sure it's easy to find, meaning you can easily access it. Like you'll see on our products, we have it on every single label. So you can scan every bottle. Every bottle also has a batch number on it. So you can look at this batch's certificate of analysis showing you all of that. They should be less than 2 years old. So some people will get a COA and use that one COA for the history of the company. I have already experienced people forging COAs or lying on COAs. And a new thing that's happening is that people are adding isolates to their products to make certain cannabinoids look like there's more of them in there. That's anytime you see something that says 99% pure CBD or whatever, that's an isolate. Tasteless, odorless, that's an isolate. If it's clear, if it's white, it's an isolate. Real extracts from plants and mushrooms should be brown and kind of green or yellow and have a little bit of a bitter taste and actually taste like a plant material. So you literally can taste it if it's a true extract.
Wow.
So look at the expert behind them, or go to people like you who have done and vetted. That's one of my reasons I love independent pet stores. The crazy person I was that crazy person who was like, okay, I have 20 dogs. I do not want to pay retail. I'm going to buy a store so I can get everything wholesale and then learn and pick all of the best products, out there. But those independent retailers or people like you who really are doing their research and homework have vetted the products or tried them. The other thing that sucks is that when you do find a good product, you always have to keep up on it because really good products get bought up by the big companies, and then the big companies go, we want to make a bigger profit. So they don't test anymore, or they don't bother with that myco-alchemist who's doing it right, or they don't bother growing it on the wood anymore or doing the CO2 extraction. So things start to change. And matter of fact, that mushroom company I told you that I was a practitioner for, when the tariffs hit, I suddenly noticed a new inactive ingredient. And that's because they're cutting, they're not putting the plant or mushroom material anymore. They're putting more fillers in because they need to make up that bottom line. I know.
So, part of it makes me cringe because, it hurts the natural medicine industry as a whole because it makes it look like our stuff doesn't work. And I'd be lying if I said that there are times in my career I've been like, this stuff doesn't work. It's junk. And it's because of this exact reason, not, patients not getting the highest quality, not using something that I recommended, or having a source that I thought was good quality. Then we find out, oh, they got bought out like 2 weeks ago. And, not that 2 weeks ago would make a difference, but they were bought out, weeks ago, and they change formulations already. And I mean, it happens all the time for sure. It's why I'm looking to see the owners of the small companies. That's what I want to know. That's my connections, and one of the big things that you had kind of mentioned, I like to learn how to use products effectively. And I like to talk with folks because I can look at certain things and go, okay, I know what that's for. I know all the herbs in it. I know what it's about. But each and every formulator has an intention. They also, you also have your energetics into it. And this is one of the things I really want folks to really understand, is that when we're buying from someone that is still involved in their business, creates the formulas themselves, your energetic essence is being put into that. And that's more important to me a lot of times than what an actual formula is, because I find things that are powerful when there's the love with it. We've just lost the love.
Heck yeah. Intention. My intention is to heal animals with plants and mushrooms the way they should. And that's my intention. My intention is not for my profits to be at a certain, level or something like that. And look at that. That's a huge difference, because you will find a $29.99 bottle of a hemp extract or a mushroom extract. And then here's this $60 to $100. What do you think the difference is? It's a huge difference. And unfortunately, a lot of people will take the $29.99 and then think CBD doesn't work. Every single time I hear I've tried it and it didn't work, I go, could you tell me what you tried? Do you have the bottle? Could you take a picture of it? And the moment they send it to me, I can immediately tell why it didn't work. It's probably an isolate. It's probably a broad spectrum. It's not potent enough. That's what blows my mind, is the therapeutic dose. It's too expensive for the company to make it a therapeutic dose. People won't buy it. How many times I was told not to do a salve, nobody's going to buy that. I'm like, okay, but dogs have 3 layers of skin. I own a groom shop and I've tested it and I've gotten rid of this, and this. So it isn't easy, but when you do find those products that really work, they are game changers, and they are fast too. It's not, you give a potent full spectrum, you can get rid of that pain. You can stop the seizure. My Doberman that I talked about was a geriatric Doberman. She has broken records. I extended her life for 2 years past her diagnosis, when osteosarcoma spreads to the lungs within 4 months and kills the dog. At 18 months, I took her in and we did 8 diagnostic tests to see where the cancer was. It hadn't moved. Literally on her lungs, not even a speck, which I don't know if you've ever gone through this, how many times vets will go, I think I see something on the lung. I'm going to look a little close. Not even a speck. She did a live blood analysis to show me what the cancer, nowhere. And that is because cannabis, I told you, interacts with the 5 signaling pathways of pain, and that's why it's so incredible for pain. For cancer, there's 12 signaling pathways, and cannabis has already been proven to interact with 8 of those pathways in more ways than 1. So metastasis, for instance, is one of those pathways. It literally stops the metastasis of the cancer, and that's why my Doberman had no spread of it anywhere else in her body. So I love learning these things and then literally watching it happen. Cannabis and mushrooms do things like train our cells to be natural killer cells, which then go throughout our body and find rogue or cancer cells and kill them. And then another pathway is called autophagy, where we then remove those dead cells out of our body. So you combine cannabis, mushrooms, adaptogens, and diet on a dog that's suffering from just about any disease, especially cancer, and you really can make an impact. I've done it several times. I'm not allowed to say it, which makes no sense. I did get my first FDA warning letter this year, which was really fun, which I know people like us, it's a badge of honor, but it's really sad for them to sit there and take the time to write me to tell me that I'm not allowed to talk about my cases on my podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to go move to another country or somewhere in the woods, and I'm going to keep on doing it. Freedom of speech. I did this. I practiced it. I made it. Why are you so concerned with what I'm doing over here? Oh, I know why. Did you know? This is one of my other favorite pieces. Can you tell I love research? My other pieces of favorite research is, they did this, I think, in 2020, where every time a state becomes medically legal for marijuana, Big Pharma loses 1.5 to 2% of their revenues, which is billions of dollars. So Pfizer made $100.3 billion in 2023. Yeah, they don't want you to have any of it. Like, why can't they just let us do our stuff over here?
Free choice.
Why do you got to shut me up? Why am I such a threat to you?
I'm so sorry. Oh, and here's the critter speaking already. He agrees.
Woohoo! He
He
agrees.
agrees. He's like,
I'm
yes.
speaking for you, Brian. I got you.
He's like, I'm telling you. So, let's show folks who are watching on YouTube right now, and for those of you who aren't, we're just going to tease you that maybe come over to the YouTube side and you can see kind of a couple things. You had described to me your Nourish Balm Stick, and for those of you guys who are looking, I'm demoing it here. One of my big things that I started using this on Brian, because I'm going to share my case, is that he's had some tick bites. And we've had to deal with that because we live in the North Woods. Ticks are common. It happens. And if you want to go hike, you got to deal with it. So I've put this on, and I've started to put it on his little lump that he has. One little lump. It's like the size of my pinky. It is starting to shrink. Is it gone yet? No, but I haven't had enough. I feel like I probably need like maybe 90 days on it.
Right.
I was going to kind of
Giving the tincture internally is also going to reduce inflammation and help the body remove whatever bad is in it. Same. I had never, in Florida, we didn't have a tick problem, but then now I'm out here, I'm like, what the hell? These things are everywhere. But yes, anything, lumps, bumps, irritations. I say every senior citizen should be, dog, animal, person, should be on a full spectrum hemp extract and medicinal mushrooms. They literally just help your body do what it's supposed to do. It just helps it keep it going, gets rid of inflammation, helps it operate. So it is something that every senior should be taking. And if you have a senior dog, they're seniors by age 7. If you got a little dog, by age 10. But age 7, he's now like 50, 60 years old. And we need to look at them that way because they don't look that way. They don't act that way, but they do go through the same, things that we go through.
And, one of the things that, I was mentioning on the podcast and I alluded to earlier is that, we're getting older. I'm getting older. I'm starting to see that he's kind of experiencing a lot of what I'm experiencing. He's mimicking it. And so, going back to the Nourish Stick and you saying like, hey, put on your skin. It can work on the spots on your skin. I'm like, oh, well, I need a bath. Do you have a bath product? Do you have a vat?
I do.
Dip me in and pull me back out.
Oh, I know. That would be nice. Like
but
a
you
mud
do have a bath
bath
product.
in a tub. Yes, that would be nice. I do. I cover myself in those. I have humans that have had skin cancer that use the Remedy all the time on their skin and get rid of skin, cancer. We know Rick Simpson, RSO, which Rick Simpson was a hemp farmer who got skin cancer and got rid of his skin cancer with hemp and is now famous and has products named after him. But yeah, there's no denying. Anybody who's like into using ChatGPT or AI and you want to know, literally type in there and go, show me the research for reishi for skin. Show me all the research on reishi extracts. You guys, your mind will be blown. They don't talk about this on the news. They don't talk about this on the internet, but it is all there. It's being kept from you. And that is literally all I did was start researching what plants, what mushrooms, what adaptogens. That's when I became in love with adaptogens. And those of you who don't know what adaptogens are, they are plants, mushrooms, sometimes even dirt. I don't know if you've heard of shilajit, but it's literally a combination of plants and mushrooms that when we take them, they adapt to what our stressors need, what our body needs. So if when I take it and you take it and our dog take it, it literally adapts to what we need, which I think is a beautiful thing. And that's the way medicine should work. When instead, conventional medicine is a standard of care. You've got this disease, you take this drug, you get this surgery, you get, whatever it is, instead of looking at the individual. So literally adaptogens are personalized medicine because they adapt to what that person or that animal needs. And if you get too much, it just gets rid of it because it knows it. If it needs more, then it's going to keep more of it. But it is really incredible what they do, and they need more attention because they're everywhere. Shilajit, what shilajit is literally the Himalayas mountains. When the snow melt happens, it's all of the snow melt, all the dirt, plant material that comes down off of it. That's literally what it is. And it's considered an adaptogen. And it literally has, fulvic and humic and all of the essential minerals that we need. And I can tell when I don't take my Shilajit. Our fruits, our vegetables, our water, everything is lacking these essential minerals, and this adaptogen provides them all.
It's one of the things that I highly recommend to all women, over 40 in particular, but I mean, everyone can benefit, but it is something that I do think we need it, whether it's for our nervous system, whether it's for just adapting to life's and environmental stressors too. Now, one of the things, and I don't know if I've kind of highlighted this enough in this podcast, but I want to make sure that we get the point across before we find out more about where we can find you and things of that nature, is that one of your signature offerings is really that you are blending mushrooms and hemp oil together. And this is the thing that
I keep them separate. So my mushrooms are separate from my hemp because hemp is oil and mushrooms are water. So they can be taken together and they're amazing together. And I add other adaptogens to them, but I don't have them together for that reason, because it's more bioavailable for the hemp to go, it's an oil to go right into our mouth. But mushrooms are water like we are, so it literally can go in our water or in our food, and it will have the same effect.
Yes, good clarification. But your premise or idea is wanting to blend them together for the protocol.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes, want to make sure that we have.
And you had brought up energetics.
Yes.
This is my favorite thing about cannabis. So also that cannabis is the queen. She's the queen of all adaptogens. It is called the endocannabinoid system after her. It's not called the endocannabinoid or the endoturmeric system. It's called the endocannabinoid system. But cannabis herself literally will take the energetics of a hot herb or a cooling herb. And if that body needs the opposite, it will adapt and change the energetics of it. So a lot of times turmeric is very warming. And I'll have people worried that turmeric is warming and that they, maybe shouldn't give these to their dog. And I'm like, yeah, but it's combined with cannabis. So if that dog shouldn't have that warming herb, it will literally change the energetics of it. That's the other beautiful thing about the adaptogens. So that's why I call cannabis the queen of all adaptogens, because she literally will make sure everything you put with her will be perfect for that body that it's going into.
Nice. Good to know. All right. We got to tell everybody, Angela, where they can find you, where they can find all your products. Cause I know you have your website, Angelina. Now I'm mixing your,
I know it's cause I look so much like Angelina Jolie. I get it.
I need some more clarity. I'm just going to take some really fast here. So
Clarity is my favorite. Clarity so we already have, it's a nootropic. I also just did my first clinical research on it, on dogs suffering from CCD, which is basically doggy dementia. And we had an 82% success rate, improvement rate on dogs that were taking it, meaning we reversed dementia. Great, I'm going to get an FDA letter for saying that. But I did that and was able to do that with these herbs. I got to watch this, and I have to tell this story if you'll indulge me. I had a senior dog rescue. So here I was putting cancer into remission, stopping seizures, getting dogs who weren't walking again, exploding giant MCT tumors, was doing it all. And then, and on old dogs, then I had this case where Miss Daisy, she was 16 at this point, getting up, going over to the water bowl, standing there, looking at it, not drinking, going back, laying back down, and doing it 4 times in a row. And I'm just watching it. And it wasn't until my partner said, I think she has Alzheimer's. I was like, who are you? And what makes you say that? Because his dad passed from Alzheimer's, and he taught me that you lose the ability to swallow and chew. You forget how to do it. You don't lose the thirst or the hunger. You just forget how to do it. And that literally ripped my heart out. I was like, what? So I lost her to CCD. Not even knowing about it. And that's when I started the deep dive. And that's where I found these nootropics. And I was like, all right, well, we've got all this proof on these nootropics. Let's put them together and watch it. So the next dog, or all the other older dogs that I would get, and my soul dog, who was also about to turn 16, I'm like, I'm not losing him to this. So literally created that. And now we just did a research study to prove it, and watched these dogs, those that were experiencing mild to moderate, literally brought them back to normal. Those that were at severe symptoms got better, but it's what our brain needs. These nootropics are unbelievable. Astragalus root, Bacopa monnieri, lion's mane, all have already been proven to regrow our telomeres, regenerate neurons. That's effing incredible that these mushrooms and plants do this. So anyway, the study's called the Senior Dog Study, if you want to look it up. And as you know, in research, they always usually for humans, start in vitro and then go to mice and rats and then go to dogs. Well, I just proved it worked in dogs, so I'll just leave it at that. You can come to your own conclusions. But my website is angelaardolino.com. Everything that I make is human grade and take myself, but I do specialize in pets and animals because I love them, and that's my intention. And I also have a podcast called Your Natural Dog podcast, which you're going to be a guest on.
Yes, such a good podcast. I've already geeked out on quite a few of them because it's stuff that people ask me about for, like, what about this for my pets? And I'm like, naturopath, I don't know, but, sure.
And that's what we're going to talk about. And that's what we're going to talk about on my podcast, is the fact that there is not naturopathic doctors in the pet space, and what a difference, and what is missing, and how confusing that is. Even for the few holistics that you can actually find. Like you said, holistic is now a marketing term.
100%, especially in the clinic that I went to. They have no clue. And
you walk into a holistic, I'm using quotation marks, holistic vet, and all the flea and tick poisons are sitting there in their little counter. That's not a holistic vet. Turn around and go out.
The science diet stuff is everywhere too.
Yes, thank you. You see those prescription, nope, get it out. And honestly, it is really hard to find a true holistic veterinarian. If you are seeking one, the best way to get with them is telehealth. So go get your labs done, or you can meet with them, get the blood work. If you need x-rays, get it done. This is what I do. And then I go send them to my holistic vet, and then I do telehealth with them. And matter of fact, not only do I do telehealth, I go, this is what I think I should do. This is the protocol I was going to do. What do you think? And then you do that a couple of times. Over a couple of years, they're going to be going, you got it. You got it. Because that's the way it should be. But yeah, it's very different for our pets than it is for our humans.
Yeah, it makes me sad. It makes me really sad. And, thinking I was trying to find someone that would align, and yes, I've since found some folks online that are great, but, for those folks who aren't, as savvy, this is one of the reasons I want to do this podcast too, is to put the word out there that there are, folks we can look for. There are products we can use. There are things we can do on our own, because as far as I know, even if I am a naturopathic doctor, I can make recommendations for you, and maybe that your pet gets it too.
Yep, absolutely. And what works for you works for your pets too. There's literally like 5 things: chocolate, onions, grapes, raisins. That's about it. I mean, I'm trying to think if I got everything, but literally
there's one more. What is it?
Yeah, there's probably one more, but honestly, guys, what works for us works for them.
That's the point across here. So instead of Angelina, AngelaArdolino.com, guys, head over there. I've now had my clarity. I hope that my brain will hold up now for this. And MycoDog, that's mycodog.com too, right? That's a website too that you've got for the tinctures here. And yeah, I really dig, actually, for human flavor on the clarity. I like it. It tastes kind of smoky. It gives me like a sense of yeah, I like the herb. I like it. Brian, I have to coerce him on that one, but I really like that one.
And
So that
it's
one's
sweet.
great. Yeah.
So because I evaporate the alcohol out, there's no alcohol in it, and we preserve it in organic vegetable glycerin, which has a sweet taste to it. So a lot of dogs really like the taste. To me, I'm like, oh my God, it's so much better than a tincture that's burning me from the alcohol, which I hate that. And your
Yeah.
dog and cat really hate it.
Really don't give the animals the alcohol tinctures. That is so huge to
That's
make
right.
sure we got that point across. So Angela, thank you so much for coming on my podcast. I look forward to coming on yours, the Natural Dog Podcast, and we'll be talking about that here soon. So guys, we'll link to that in the podcast notes at drjkrauseND.com. And yeah, I'm sure we'll have Angela back on about some more topics because there's so many things I wanted to ask you, but I think so many folks have only attention span for so long, but I would keep you here for hours because I have so many other questions that I get. So maybe what we'll do is we'll do a repeat or a follow-up podcast where I list out all the things I'm commonly asked about
Oh, fun.
herbs. So, alrighty. Well, thanks for listening, guys. You guys have a great day, whatever you're doing. There we go. Hey, fellow health junkie. Thanks for listening to the Health Fix podcast. If you enjoyed tuning in, please help support me to get the word out about the podcast. Subscribe, rate, and review, and just get that word out. Thanks again for listening.